Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here. And as predicted, Israel is now saying they will be going through with bombing campaigns in Iran. This is something that we've been warning of for quite some time. Of course, Israel pushed the idea of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq that led to 2 million deaths in Iraq during the Iraq War back in 2002 in front of Congress. And then last year, they went in front of Congress and said the same thing about Iran. This is the push to bring in the Greater Israel Project, as well as bring the world onto the brink of war, which is entirely manufactured in order to bring in later emergency orders, in my opinion. So we are going to go into what all this means. Trump warns Israeli strike on Iran could very well happen as IAEA declares Tehran in breach. Of course, American first leaders are warning Trump that green lighting Israeli strike on Iran would fracture his political coalition, while neocons are lobbying for Trump to ditch Iran deal and back Israeli strike. This is after he, of course, put $1 trillion into defense, the largest spending budget ever for defense, in order to go after Iran. So don't get too excited that Trump is going to act as a peace president, because he hasn't proven that at all thus far with these bombing campaigns in the last couple of months. We're going to get into this and more, my friends. Before we do, I urge you to check those links below and get prepared today. Go to heavensharvest.com for long-term storable foods that are non-GMO. There's organic kits, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, and books on how to get started. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and you'll get 5% off as well as free shipping on these orders. This is a no-brainer. They want you on food rations. They want you on digital IDs. This is how you ensure you and your family are free of these constraints that they are trying to put on you right now. Do not think it's this isn't about fear-mongering. This is about having solutions so you don't have to be in fear. Of course, we have whambeef.com for 10 plus year shelf life freeze-dried steak. There's freeze-dried chicken and ground beef as well. 12 servings per bag, where you can use code WAMBEEF, WAMBEEF, all one word, and get 20% off on your order. So this is a great way to avoid the poisonous rations they're trying to push on people today. I think this is an amazing opportunity. Guaranteed no mRNA, no lab-grown meat, all American beef that's 100% natural. Go and check out whambeef.com and use that code WAMBEEF today and save money. And of course, prepare yourself for what comes next. That is how we can feel best free as human beings. Israel ready to attack Iran, says the media. Potential Israeli military action looms as nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran stall. Israel is poised to launch a military operation against Iran, multiple U.S. media outlets reported on Thursday, citing sources. Concern about looming Israeli strike and resulting Iranian retaliation has already prompted the U.S. to authorize a reduction of its diplomatic presence and approve the departure of family members from military bases in the region. The potential escalation could also derail the ongoing nuclear talks between Washington and Tehran. All these talks are fake. None of it's real. This is all manufactured. This was all scripted long ago. It says here, West Jerusalem is fully ready to start the operation, multiple anonymous U.S. officials told CBS News. The reporting has been further corroborated by the New York Times, which cited U.S. and European officials familiar with the plan. The newspaper noted, however, that the extent of the looming military action was still unclear. Look, you attack or you strike Iran, or Iran strikes Israel, it leads to a massive, massive conflict, the likes of which people don't quite understand yet. Because, of course, we're talking about Iran, not Iraq. Iraq was a powerful country, a very rich country, and the U.S. brought them down for no apparent reason, actually, and completely converted the place into an Israeli-owned, Mossad-owned operation with proxies in the country, which, by the way, even the parliament voted the United States out of Iraq back in January of 2020 after Trump killed Soleimani, the Iranian general, in Iraq near Erbil. But after all this was said and done, they said, we're not leaving, because it's not about democracy, as they claimed all along. It's about a lie that Netanyahu spread in the United States about Iraq and now about Iran. And Iran being one of the top allies of Russia and China, this leaves a door open to a catastrophic incident between the U.S. and Russia, the U.S. and Iran, the U.S. and China, and potentially many other BRICS countries going up against them as they're unleashing the AI warfare, the AI tech, which is we've seen happening before our eyes recently. Trump went to the Middle East to meet with the Saudi Crown Prince, with Sam Altman from OpenAI, with Alex Karp from the CEO of Palantir, and Peter Thiel as well. Who, by the way, Dan Dix of Press for Truth just confronted in Sweden during the Bilderberg conference. And of course, people like Elon Musk and the CEO of Citibank and many others, Larry Fink of BlackRock, all met alongside Trump with the Saudi crown prince and the head of Qatar, and of course, Jolani, the Al Qaeda proxy created by Mossad and CIA in Syria. Now, this was to create AI warfare techniques and AI jobs, which would replace jobs in the US and eventually force everyone onto UBI, Universal Basic Income, a World Economic Forum tenet, which Elon Musk has been pushing recently. So this it was not some by chance grassroots kind of thing. This is very manufactured. And now we have Palantir Tech creating a database in the United States while also using AI drones to indiscriminately bomb children in Palestine for Israel. So this is a massive move. Going into Iran would lead to this snowballing. Not to mention we have Pakistan and India fighting. You have China and Taiwan fighting. You have the U.S. talking about airstrikes in Mexico, creating another Iraq in Mexico, where I live, by the way. This is all about creating order out of chaos. This isn't about some real war where these guys are good, these guys are bad. That's not true. The governments on both sides are working together. They're both bad. They've propped each other up, have always been part of the script of the shift from the west to the east. And now, of course, they're going for go time. They need the right crisis to bring in that technocratic approach, that great reset, that world order that we've been warning about for so long, economically, culturally, as far as, of course, the housing situation, property goes, all these things to force us onto social credit, carbon credits, in 50-minute cities, no ownership of property on digital IDs attached to CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. This is a shift they need. The food supply, absolutely devastated, and they're going after that from many angles right now, and we'll be following up some of our stories on the supply chain soon. We have many articles ready to go and many headlines that we want to dig into, but this is incredibly stupid. Remember, Iran was propped up by the US in the first place. Remember the 1953 Iranian military coup, the overthrowing of the Shah. And of course, they fought back with the Ayatollahs later on. And they say, oh, now their hands are clean of the CIA. That's nonsense. How did they get their weapons? Why are so many of them American? Why did Obama send a bunch of weapons to Iran? This is all part of the agenda, problem, reaction, solution, repeat, the Hegelian dialectic forever. Israel was propped up by the U.S. Of course, Soviet Russia was propped up by the U.S. Of course, the United Nations was propped up, both World War I, World War II, 1948 for China, as well as 1972 for China, when Henry Kissinger met with Mao Zedong to create an alliance with China to prop them up against their starvation event and help them in an economic collapse to make them a monopoly, which led to the Trilateral Commission utilizing them with Zbigniew Brzezinski and the Rockefellers to create a technocratic superstate utilizing China as a guinea pig state for technocracy. Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum said China is a role model for the Great Reset. Okay, so this isn't about this side or that side. Al Qaeda was armed and funded by the U.S. and Mossad, of course. So is the Taliban, and so is the Mujahideen, Muslim Brotherhood, ISIS. All of these guys. ISIS was just caught being funded by Israel a few days ago, and then a few weeks ago apologized to Israel for accidentally attacking them. I mean, how do people not see this? How do people not see this? Countless children, countless men, women, and children are being killed in Gaza right now. It's awful. And then people are acting like, whoa, like these Wahhabis are terrible. Who planted Wahhabism in the region? It was Israel. And then problem, reaction, solution, repeat. Okay, well, look what the problems are causing. You know, look at the mass migration. Netanyahu brags about sending migrants to the West. I mean, people don't get how this is all snowballing and creating this infinite circle. False flags, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so what we're seeing there, of course, we could also say, you know, Ukraine propped up by the United States as well. 2014 Maidan massacre, false flag, which was blamed on Russia, which turned out it was the U.S. government was heavily involved. These were all ways to clash all these countries together in order to eventually create a proxy in which all these countries clash at the same time, and you have a world war on your hands. Mexico cartels propped up by the United States government as well. And then, oh, look, we need to go after Mexico because of the cartels. Like, this is how they do it, my friends. How people don't see it, I don't know. Trump warns Israeli strike on Iran could very well happen as IAEA declares Tehran in breach. American first leaders warn Trump that greenlighting Israeli strike on Iran would fracture his political coalition. Well, he's an Israeli first president. And by the way, like a lot of people have been speaking out saying this is a terrible idea. Okay, great. Ron Paul has done a great job. He did a show, a Liberty Report. on this, which was really good. But again, this was already set in stone a while ago. The neoconservative conservatives lobby Trump to ditch Iran deal, back Israeli strike, which is absolutely suicidal insanity. Millions of people will die, but of course they don't care. And who created the ideology of neoconservatism? Anyone? The Crystals, Bill Kristol, people like that, who of course have a certain tie to a certain Israeli lobby in the United States. Imagine that. It's like clockwork. Meanwhile, this idea that Trump might shut it down, maybe he will, on the veneer, say some things against this. However, he just approved a $1 trillion, just 1 month ago, a $1 trillion defense spending bill, the largest in history. And much of it is going to annex Palestine, go to war with Lebanon, help in Syria to destabilize the country, as well as continue to go into Iraq, and then, yes, attack Iran. Why now is the biggest military funding happening? Why now is this AI infrastructure being built for warfare? Why now are they planning on all these food rations and all these grid rations and everything? Why do you think? I hate to be the black-pilled negative guy. People are, I'm bleeding subscribers on YouTube since I got back. Another reason why everyone should go to Rumble and BitChute. But the point is, I don't care. I will always be consistent in my views and freedom and individualism. And this is insane. And of course, Trump said that that Netanyahu has his full 100% support in an interview recently. Well, there's blackmail out there. What's going on with Epstein? Hey, well, of course, they're not releasing the information about Epstein because, well, he was a Mossad agent. We had lunch in Israel once. New questions swirl over Epstein's intelligence links. Well, he bragged about being Mossad and also got a plea deal over being Mossad in 2011. Or Epstein's lawyer brokered a plea deal based on intelligence ties while not knowing about them. Well, he did know about them because he did openly say Alex Acosta years ago as part of Trump's transition team that was the case. But anyway, people forget history. I don't, because I do everything I can to not be normalized to things so I can remember all these crazy stories always coming out of the news 24/7. I have a billion bookmarks on this. It's not that I'm some intelligent guy. It's that I just know that they're trying to wipe our memory. So I keep these things. White House fears Iranian response to an attack could overwhelm Israel's air defense. Well, that's, again, this is just normalization of this already being a case. Though it's going to happen. And by the way, would bring Russia and China into war with the US and Israel and everything. I mean, I can't even, and the UK and NATO and all that. This is what snowballs it, my friends. Iran warns it will hit US bases in the region if US launches an attack. President Trump has been threatening to bomb Iran if a deal isn't reached. And by the way, has said that he will obliterate Iran in the past, and has believed the Netanyahu claim that Iran tried to have him killed in July of 2024. It's absurd. U.S. preparing to partially evacuate Iraq embassy as Israel fully ready to attack Iran. So again, they're already pushing for these evacuations. What do you think is going to happen? It could be a false alarm. Could be. We've heard fear about this before, but everything seems to be going like clockwork right now. Meanwhile, Russia plans 8 nuclear plants in Iran. Well, wouldn't that be great? Just imagine the U.S. or Israel attacks Iran, then in doing so attacks Russia directly and causes a massive nuclear disaster. If you believe in that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's all scripted. Nonetheless, this is a danger going forward. And on that front, that it all correlates, nearly 8,000 killed in Syria within 6 months, according to the Monitor. Now, HTS took over Syria, formerly Al-Nusra Front, which was funded heavily by Israel and the U.S. government as well. And Jolani comes in. He was an Al-Qaeda boss, which was on the U.S. hit list for years, by the way. But of course, like all these guys, they seem to be propped up by the West in the first place. And as the documents I went over in a 2018 video, and I also talked about in 2017, CIA documents from the 1980s, including one that says bringing arms to bear in Syria. I believe it came out in 1982 or 1986. There's 2 documents I went into. I can't remember the dates. I always switch them out. But nonetheless, talked about overthrowing Assad Sr., by utilizing proxies from Iraq, Lebanon, and Turkey to go down into Syria and overtake the government without a shot being fired, overthrowing Assad. Assad would probably go to Russia, it said. And of course, then they would take over the country and, of course, go after Alawites, Christians, and Sunnis, which is exactly what happened this year so far. Exactly. And if you go back and watch my video from 2018, which I've chronicled many times on my channel about this, you'll see word for word exactly what happened December last year to now, and said all the way back in 2018. And of course, I've been talking about the issue with Syria going back 19 years, but nonetheless, this is all right in front of us, being plotted out. It's been written long ago. These things are very scripted, and what it leads to is that technocratic approach of CBDCs with digital IDs controlling our every move, controlling our behavior, controlling what we can or cannot eat, the poisons that they will put in the food supply. Again, this is incredibly dangerous going forward if you are dependent on them or the grocery stores or the medical system or whatever it might be, or the banking system. There are solutions. We like to give the solutions, but people get angry at us and we get trolled, and that's fine. I don't care. If people want to do nothing and want to sit on their hands, that is up to them. If they want to wait for Trump to save the day and, oh, it's all some 5D chess thing, if they really believe that, go for it. Go for it. It's not my problem. I just hope that there's enough people out there fighting alongside me. At the end of the day, once the Tower of Babel inevitably collapses, first it has to be propped up before it collapses. When it comes crashing down, I hope there's enough people with me who believe the right things, like believe in individualism and freedom and voluntarism, that can build a bright, beautiful new civilization in the aftermath. That's all I hope for. And I hope that all of you guys out there protect yourself and protect your family. The basis of humanity is freedom, is individualism, is self-responsibility. Those things are all synonymous. And there are ways that you can reject this without waiting for the government to save them and think, oh, this is so bad, it's going to get really bad. It is. But there are ways that you can actually reject this by withdrawing from this evil system. So I urge people to check those links below and not be trapped in the inevitable goal of the war on humanity. I urge people to go to heavensharvest.com for long-term storable foods that are non-GMO. There's organic kits, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, books on how to get started. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and you'll get 5% off as well as free shipping on this. So again, this is a great deal. You're saving money versus inflation, never mind everything else. Going forward, world's first currency was food. Don't allow yourself to succumb to the new currency, which is compliance. Also, check out whambeef.com for 10 plus year shelf life freeze-dried steak. There's freeze-dried chicken and ground beef as well. 12 servings per bag. And of course, there you could use, like I mentioned earlier, code WAM Beef, W-A-M-B-E-E-F, all one word. And you'll get 20% off on your order. So go and check that out in the description below. Guaranteed no mRNA jabs, no lab-grown meat, all American beef that's 100% natural. So go and check that out today. I highly recommend it so that you aren't succumbing to the issues of the supply chain. Also, make sure to check our link for Wild Pastures to get 20% off for life plus $15 off your first box of 100% grass-fed and finished beef, pasture-raised pork, pasture-raised chicken, and wild-caught seafood. No mRNA, GMOs, hormones, antibiotics, feedlots, steroids, pesticides, or chemicals of any kind. All raised on regenerative family farms in 48 U.S. states, delivered to your door, temperature-controlled and customizable as you see fit. Again, this is a great way to save money. It's a great way to save your local farmer, and it's a great way to keep yourself healthy. So I urge people to go and check those links in the description. And a big one, my friends, a really big one, is ditching the financial system as we know it. Go and check out firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/. Make sure it's that exact link. To buy physical gold and silver today, reject the CBDC system. You could hold the gold or silver in your hands, put it in a vault, put it in an IRA outside of the traditional IRA system. Schedule an appointment for a free consultation with Mark Gonzalez and a complimentary investors package. We do many videos with him, so keep checking in for those. And let him know in the comments of the forum that he found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, W-A-M. This is a great way to survive what's coming next. And as always, my friends, I urge you to check those links below. If you can help support us, we truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you to those who've donated. We have gogetfunding.com. We have Patreon, Subscribestar. If you pledge $4.99 a month or more on Patreon or Subscribestar, you will get exclusive content. We're posting videos never before seen. We're putting it on there a day or so, sometimes 2 days early, so you can see the report before it comes out. And you could buy it as well for $5 if you just want to do a one-time payment. So check that out. We have PayPal below as well, ancientwonderstelevision@gmail.com. And of course, we do actually do subscriber-only content, the same stuff on X at World Alt Media. I should mention that as well. You can scan this on the screen if you want to donate in Bitcoin. This is our Bitcoin address. We also have a Bitcoin address in the description in text form. We have a Cointree link with a bunch of different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in if you please, including privacy coins. So we truly appreciate that as well. And of course, we have a Teespring store with a bunch of merchandise. We have a bunch of other stuff that you can find. If you're watching on YouTube, you could find on Rumble and BitChute. We're not even allowed to mention it if we post a video on YouTube, including many issues that involve health. We're not even allowed to talk about it. We posted a video on the LA riots the other day, and it got taken down for medical you-know-what information. And it never even mentioned anything medical of any kind. So we have to be careful about things like that if we're going to post on YouTube, but we're completely censorship free. So we will continue, no matter if we get taken down from YouTube or not, we will continue everything on Rumble and BitChute. Please go subscribe over there, my friends. And as always, find us on Telegram. We're on Band Video. We're on Odyssey, Brighteon. We're on Hive, Steemit, and Vigilante.tv at Josh Sigurdson. And we're on the Bad Guys TikTok and Instagram, World Alternative Media, Twitter and Getter at World Alt Media, and all the major podcast platforms except for Spotify, where, of course, we are banned. Somehow we get brought back on YouTube. Very suspicious of that. Don't allow yourself to be pulled back over there. They are a terrible company that will totally destroy our ability to reach you with the truth once again, while propping up mainstream alternative media. As always, hit that like button, share on social media, hit the notification bell, and hit subscribe if you have not yet already. And until next time, my friends, live freely, live by example. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.